Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Breaking news from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. UConn head coach Dan Hurley has turned down the LA Lakers' 6-year, $70 million offer, and he will return to chase a third straight national title. Again, that is courtesy of ESPN. The Lakers were willing to make Hurley one of the NBA's 6 highest paid coaches, but he will remain in the college game. College baseball, the Tennessee Vols dominated Evansville 12-1 in Game 3 of the Knoxville Super Regional Sunday. They move on to Omaha for the 7th time in program history, going back-to-back for the College World Series for the first time in program history. Tennessee will take on Florida State to start things off in Omaha this weekend. In NFL news, Giants tight end Darren Waller calling it a career after 9 seasons. The 31-year-old cited a health scare in November as a big factor in the decision. Waller played for the Ravens and Raiders before spending last season with the Giants. The Titans will kick off their final week of the offseason program this week. OTAs tomorrow. Head coach Brian Callahan and select players will meet with the media following practice. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight in Sunrise, Florida. The Panthers hold a 1-0 series lead after a 3-0 win over the Oilers in Game 1. Puck drop tonight is at 7. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Happy Monday and welcome in. I am Joe Hunk, joined with the hitman, Blaine Bishop. How are you today, sir?
What's going on, Joe?
Oh, it is.
I got to get you a nickname. It's just Hunk.
Well, most of the time, yeah, people just call me Hunk. That's all they do is just that we've tried nicknames. I tried nicknames in high school. Hunk,
but nobody's going to go. It just hit me what it should be. It's as easy.
What's that?
Like Wheezy.
Wait, you gonna call me Wheezy?
No.
Oh, I was about to say.
It's easy like Wheezy. Mohawk. We just going to call you Mohawk.
I'm okay with Mohawk. I'm okay with Hawk. I'm okay with Hunk. Whatever. Variations. I've been called Joe
Mohawk
Junk.
Hunk.
Yeah. I've been called Junk before. Nah.
Okay.
It's whatever you want
Call
to
you Mohawk.
I mean, I'm just here hanging out. That's all
Mohawk.
I'm doing.
Were you at the CMA Fest?
No, there's no way on earth. I was
that's
coming.
right. You at a reunion.
No, I was at the family reunion.
Those are so fun, aren't they?
I've got documentation.
Why did you look cross-eyed when I said that? Just wait. Family reunion.
You can see this on Zone TV, by the way. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. I will tell you what this is. It's in my hand right now. Here in just a minute. Oh, yeah. Don't worry.
Nobody passed or anything like that, right? I don't know.
May have since then.
Like that.
May have since then, but no. I was as far away from CMA Fest as I could get.
Okay. Did y'all have T-shirts matching and everything at the family reunion?
We had a ukulele. We had some ukuleles that it's apparently they're really famous in our family. Did not know this. They're a ukulele group because that's normal was going on during that.
Yeah,
so
really normal.
That will that you put that against CMA Fest. Which one would you choose?
Oh my.
See?
Ooh. I mean, I probably would have went CMA Fest. And I was down there a little bit, but my wife had some lady friends in town, birthday, so I kind of perused around, the outskirts, but they were all down in Nissan and on Broadway. So they, had a pretty good time. So, yeah, CMA, you got to, participate a little bit if you haven't done it before, for sure.
Do we know how many people were at CMA Fest this year? Because last year there was 90,000.
Oh,
last year was 90,000 people that went to CMA Fest.
Is that the record?
That was that was the new record for last year that they set for the CMA Fest was 90,000 people.
You think it was more this year?
Probably so, mainly because when you add Post Malone and you have all these other Jelly Roll was coming in with the awesome shirt that he had the D-Home on one side and he had Nissan Stadium on the other. Like you have all that stuff, so you think that there's over 90,000 that was there. What is the biggest event in this state? Like, is that the biggest annual event that we have in the state of Tennessee?
That's a good one. That it's known for CMA Fest. Is it? Now, you got the Kentucky Derby, Indy 500, Daytona. I mean, different states. So, what is Tennessee known for?
Right, because we have if Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Now, behind the glass today for us, Jackson's hanging out after the Buck Rising show.
He's a little nervous back there. I don't know why. I think it's because he gets to be back there by himself in the dark. He said he gets a little nervous in the dark.
He also knows how wild I am off of a mic, so he has no clue where I'm going to go with this on the mic. So Jackson, you what is it? Is it Bonnaroo?
It's Bonnaroo. It's got to be Bonnaroo.
Okay, see, and the reason I ask is because I think Bonnaroo last year had over 85,000 that showed up for Bonnaroo.
Oh.
And I know that like in 2018, because I actually started Googling this, trying to figure out what's the biggest event. Chattanooga has an event around the river that's like an 8-day event that it didn't happen last year because they took time off.
they were still recovering.
They also they're taking this year off as recovery. But over 2018, they had over 300,000 people that showed up through this 8-day long event. So it's 8 days. So it's not like it's a weekend. So 300,000 is more likely, but 300,000 is what showed up to that one. So I don't know if we count that one as the longest one, but Bonnaroo, my stepbrother went to Bonnaroo last year. He left after 2 hours.
I've never been to Bonnaroo.
No, sir.
I've never been.
No.
But Jackson said he has been there, right?
I have not been to Bonnaroo. I have a bunch of friends that have gone.
And what do they say about it?
I have a buddy that goes every year. He loves it. It's great artists. It's A-list artists and a farm out in Manchester.
Yeah. They're out in a humongous field.
Right.
They bring not only porta potties in, but they also bring in portable showers because you don't have showers out there, and you're staying for 3 or 4 days at Bonnaroo, and you're in this field, and that is all you do. Now, there's some people that bring RVs and tents and things like that for you to stay in. There's some what's it called, Jackson? Luxury
transportation, but you can also buy a shower at Bonnaroo. They are purchasable.
Huh?
They have it's like a
tent deal.
Yeah, like a food truck kind of thing. Like you can get you a snack, get you a shower, get all different kinds of things at Bonnaroo.
Yeah, so
we had Bonnaroo, but okay, how about here in Nashville? What would be
if we're talking annual events? Because the F&M Bank chat is open now. We've already got a bunch of people that's hopping in as they're watching on Zone TV. Football Fred says CMAs, Bonnaroo. We had somebody says, well, don't Vols games automatically win because they get 100,000 every single game?
Because I was going to say Vols, the Titans is, I would say, I guess, under that then as far as attendance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, then you have a lot of people is saying either the CMA Fest here in Nashville or something in Memphis in May would probably be your quote-unquote big ones.
What do they have in Memphis in May?
Carl says that he lives across the interstate from Bonnaroo. We get out of town every single year. There's over 60,000 tickets that are sold for it just this year as of right now. 60,000 people.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I cannot do that.
I don't even know if I can convince all my friends just that they're not going to be getting a shower.
No. See, that's my thing. It's a smell thing for me.
What?
Yes. It's a smell thing for me. I cannot do the smell. By being around the same person for 3 or 4 days, your clothes stinking, you're stinking. I'm not just going to say there's some recreational fun taking place on Bonnaroo, on the farm.
What are you referencing?
Well, just some guys that sometimes you need to relax.
Oh, okay.
And so there's certain ways that just help you relax. Whether it's the kind that you have to use a lighter for, or some that they may keep them in a little canteen.
That's why Jackson hasn't gone.
No.
He doesn't like relaxing.
Yeah. No. So that's some of those. And then you spin it around and you have things happening this weekend like the Vols going to Omaha now. And you had the College World Series not 100% set. NC State and Georgia still have to play tonight.
Oh, right.
That's the last one.
That could then make 5 SEC teams if they won.
Teams.
Okay.
5 SEC teams.
But we already know who Tennessee plays, right?
Yes, Tennessee is going to play Florida State. So the way the bracket looks now after Tennessee won is you have Tennessee on one side of the bracket. They're going to be playing. You're going to have Florida State's who they're going to play. Now the other side of the bracket's the most interesting part because the other side of the bracket, because people forget.
How many teams, first of all, is all?
There are 8 teams.
8, okay.
8 teams will be in Omaha.
Explain it out to me. Yeah, you're a big-time baseball guy here.
Well, and this is where people forget. This isn't now an 8-team bracket. These are still 2 separate brackets that are taking place. So you have 2 4-team brackets that are going to be happening. So there's no way that Tennessee is going to see Florida or Texas A&M or Kentucky until the actual national championship game. So what's happening is the teams, there's going to be one whole bracket, if Georgia wins tonight, that will be made up of nothing but SEC teams. So there'll be 4 SEC teams that will play each other all week next week to try to see who's playing in the national championship game. And then on Tennessee's side, they're going up against all ACC opponents.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the reason why this is so wild is you will have 5 SEC teams in Omaha, and if Georgia wins tonight, the SEC is guaranteed to have one team in the national championship round. All because of how well the SEC did yesterday and all these.
So what you're telling me is, maybe I'm hearing it wrong, but this is intentional by the people who run the World Series, is that they're trying to make it an even playing field so 2 teams from the same conference can't make it to the championship.
Well,
is that not the case?
Well, the thing is when you have 11 SEC teams. I mean, think about, Blaine. Like, think about if you made the tournament. Yeah, like think about if in the NFL there were all 4 teams from the AFC South made the NFL playoffs. There's a likelihood that at some point in time you're going to see each other down the road and playing in this. Like, there's no way to play in
championship.
That. Exactly. Like, you're going to play each other. Same thing happens with the SEC. Is there's 11 teams. You can only separate these out so much
long, right?
Before they're going to have to go up against each other. So Jackson is, as we're sitting here talking about what's going on in College World Series, the Tennessee Vols are in there. He has some news as well. What's going on, Jackson?
Breaking news?
Oh. Did Hurley change his mind?
No, this is in the NFL. The Steelers have announced they have a 3-year contract extension for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Oh. Who reported that?
They never change coaches.
The Steelers announced it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
There we go. So Tomlin's got himself a new 3-year deal. New 3-year deal with that after he's basically they've brought new quarterbacks into the quarterback room.
New OC.
New OC. You have you've already let Najee Harris basically know that you're not going to be bringing him back.
After one more season.
One more season as well. So a lot of that to unpack. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a few seconds. Blaine, we've got Ding Dong of the Week coming up next. Ooh. Did I tell you about Ding Dong of the Week? Hey, you got like 5 minutes to come up with your Ding Dong of the Week, Blaine.
The Mavs lost, so that is a ding dong for me.
They lost for the second
I'm going to pick them again.
You'll pick them again?
That's my ding dong.
So we have Ding Dongs of the Week coming up. Now, coming up at 2 o'clock, your opportunity with Ding Dong of the Week is going to be a chance for you to win tickets to go watch the Atlanta Braves. That's coming up at 2 o'clock. Before that, at 1:45, we will be joined by Alex Bowman as he gets ready to come to Nashville to get ready for the Ally race that's going to be happening here in town as well. He is Blaine Bishop. I'm Joe Hunk. We'll continue talking Vols and Mike Tomlin as well. We come back on 104.5 The Zone.
Nashville, summer stars are making a splash, and we're not just talking about the rain. So don't wait until you're in the dark to think about a whole home generator. So act now and keep your family comfortable through any storm. And speaking of storms, it's time to shield your home with surge protection. So score $50 off when you book now, because why let lightning crash the party, right? Feeling like the electrical panels are stuck in the Stone Age? Well, upgrade now and save $200 with our sizzling summer promotion. And let's bring your home into the 21st century. But wait, there's more. Dive into our plumbing summer promos and replace the old water heater and score $500 off a tankless one or $250 off a tankless model. And don't let a cold shower ruin your summer and the vibes of the summer. Worried about what's lurking in the water? Well, get peace of mind with free water quality testing on the house. Yes, and not just your house, on the house. Got slow drains bring you down? Let us tackle them with a $93 free drain cleaning. If you can't clear your drain, it's on us. And that means Cool Ray in Nashville. Why sweat it out when you can keep your cool with you know who, Cool Ray. So let's make your summer a breeze and visit coolray.com or call us today at 615-570-0900 to snag these sizzling deals. That's Cool Ray, keeping Tennessee cool, plumbing right, and lights bright.
He is Blaine Bishop, Joe Hunk, and with you on this Monday. Phone lines are open. Our man Jackson is going to be taking your call, 615-737-1045. We'll get you in a Zone TV. You can watch on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X as well. The F&M Bank chat wide open for you as we are going to be giving our ding-dongs of the week here in just a few seconds. And coming up at 2 o'clock is going to be your opportunity to call in and give us your ding dong of the week, where you will have the opportunity to win a pair of tickets to go watch the Atlanta Braves. Ooh. But Blaine, would you turn down a 6-year, $70 million offer in anything? I don't mean basketball. I just mean anything.
Well, I mean, let's look in context. What is he making? Like 4 or 5, 6 million or so at the Connecticut?
Yeah.
Talking about Hurley here, who turned down the Lakers job, and maybe it was about how much control he has over something and not a good fit, and maybe he feels like, maybe it's better offer, or is he leveraging to get what he wants? We still don't know. The story is still not over, besides he turned it down. So doesn't mean they won't counter, huh?
No, and that is also part of the story, because last year or before last season, Hurley signed a brand new 6-year, $32 million deal with UConn. So the Lakers just offered him double what he had signed.
Make him like the 5th highest paid NBA coach.
Yeah, so they offered him $70 million for 6 seasons. So it's the same year length, but it is double the money, and he turned it down.
Now, here's what I would say. All money is not good money. It is, you never always chase the money, especially when you've been in a position where you already have money. So that's why it's not surprising to the normal person after you sit on your couch, hey, man, I'm taking $70 million. That's easy to say. Well, maybe he's also is a little more passionate, or wants him to come to the table with more money, or does he want to go for 3 in a row? Where's that put him in history if he wins 3? Has anybody ever done that? Well, I'm sure UCLA back in the day.
You go back to UCLA and John Wooden.
That kind of puts him at the staple number 2 greatest coach of all. I don't know what his goals are. Ultimately, most coaches you think want to get to the highest level, and maybe he thinks his style is maybe not quite, for the NBA, because you don't have control over the players like you do. So the money can make you feel better. So I don't know what all the tentacles are to why he turned it down. I would assume just maybe he's not going to have the cachet and the clout and the power that he actually wants to really think he can have success. That's the only thing, because the money is the money. And obviously, he could leverage this also and get more money from Connecticut. Namely, not that money, but he could maybe ump it up another $1 million, $2 million over the deal, or per year, depending on what happens. So, I don't know. It's always about fit. When you reach the level where you've had success in your head coach, it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about the fit, because you can be selective. Maybe his wife doesn't want to move to L.A. See, it could be something way off kilter, and he's like, well, I got to go, and he thought he could convince her, brought her with him, like, oh, we can stay here. She's like, nah, I don't like it. We're going to have to move our kids. How many times are we going to have to do this over and over again? And guess what? Look at the history. They fired their coaches after 2 years. Then all of a sudden, then we're going to go right back where we were. So there's other factors in human element, instead of just the money when you're making a decision like that.
Does this mean that, look at it. First off, this is a trend that went the opposite of what we thought was going to happen, because we've seen so many coaches either retire or go to the pros after doing what they've done in college because of NIL, transfer portal, and all that. So I'd already said, okay, he's going to be the guy. Was the thought of having to, what you just talked about, 2 year, after 2 years, they like to change coaches.
The last 2 coaches, they fired them 2 years.
And you talk about then, okay, well, who's been the deciding factor in a lot of those in Los Angeles is one particular person not wanting to throw. I'm just saying, did he come back home and say, I don't want to have to cater to one player to make this whole team go? Or is it one of those where, you know what? I've got a good team. I know I'm kind of navigating this NIL world a little bit better than what I thought I would. I would have less stress at UConn than what I would in the NBA, because I would thought he would have had more stress at UConn. Because you're always having to.
Well, the Lakers is one of the best organizations in the NBA now. I mean, they, Celtics, it's going to be pressure. You in LA, that's a big market. So I would say it would be more than Connecticut. I think most people believe it's going to be hard to win 3 in a row, but if you do it, man, hats off to you. A bad man.
Oh, yeah.
So, and he picks the right guys. I think he has a formula of certain guys that he picks on the, in the TP. So, and sometimes they're not highly acclaimed like people think, but they fit a piece to the puzzle of what they need on their team.
Well, it's about the pieces in this. Like you can, a lot of today is going to be about Tony Vitello as well as what Tennessee's doing. You're finding the pieces that make your team better in the way that you want it to be designed. Like you hear so many coaches of, we don't look at star ratings. We're looking for the guys that I know that can piece our team together and make it and fill it the way that we want to. Is this kind of the same? Now, you mentioned the last coach to have a three-peat is John Wooden. That was back from 1971 to 73. He was the last head coach to do it. You've had a couple. Florida's done it. Coach K has done it. Duke that's at least won 2. But it's been since 1973 since the team has won 3 in a row. So that's it. Now, Mark on the F&M Bank chat says, take $1 billion to put up with crybaby flop king LeBron. I don't understand why you media guys understand that no one good wants to put up with LeBron.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people like that because basically they've said he's running the organization to a certain extent. And that's he's going to make you then bring in his son, whether it's an undrafted player or not. And then he wants to play with something like his son can be in the NBA, but he doesn't have to be on your team. Mm-hmm. I mean, LeBron has so much clout now. I'm sure someone will bring just for that purpose alone and see if he can make the team if he's deserving. It's tough. The NBA players, man, they carry a lot of cachet in decision making, especially the superstar, supermax players, which I think they have a little too much power and clout. But they run their league, and Silver and everybody else kind of caters to that because they understand what they need to make their league successful. So, that's an interesting dynamic. I think they're going to be interested. They said they've been after him the whole time.
Yes.
And, we were hearing reports of J.J. Redick, and he's good friends with LeBron, naturally, and then to come out and then get denied when a big-time organization like the Lakers, Celtics, all the big name, gets denied something like that, man, that kind of puts you in a point like, now who can we hire? They put on a panic button there a little bit. We are the Lakers, but we want to win a natty. We want to win NBA Finals. We want to be there, and we're not. And guess who's there? The Celtics, and we're not. Yeah. Why aren't we playing them? So this is going to be interesting because I don't know if anybody is going to be a good fit with LeBron to me at this point in time. If he's had part in both of the last 2, then those are bad misses. And to me, no player should have that kind of clout where he is really kind of pushing the decision. To me, he should just be able to give his opinion and say what he prefer if you had a couple of choices, but he doesn't ultimately make the decision because once you start going down that road of letting a player start making decisions, you're going down the wrong road because then it's never their fault, even when you make a bad decision. You notice nobody ever says it's LeBron James' fault. Anybody says LeBron James' fault on the last 2 hires? Everybody knows he was part of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, for you, when you were in you went through at least one coaching change that I can think of off the top of my head, back like early in your career.
I did my rookie year.
Yeah, exactly. So you've went through at least one coaching change.
Wow. Besides when they cut me and I then went to Andy Reid with the Eagles.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about like you're sitting in the locker room, you and all the guys are sitting and talking, thinking, okay, who are they going to bring in next? When that process is going on, like what the Lakers are going through right now, is there ever the leader in the locker room or anything? Do they get their opinion out of what they want, who they want, anything like that? Like what we would like to think is happening with the Lakers at all? Does your
mean like behind the scenes?
Yeah, behind the scenes. Does your opinion count whatsoever where you've got like a general manager going, so what have you heard about this head coach? Or, what do you think about this guy? Just asking you in general your opinions before they may come in for an official interview.
Well, I was a young player, but I would assume that most quarterbacks maybe are not recommending coaches, but they would be talking about what kind of fit it would be with those coaches that they are considering. I think as an organization, I really believe that, especially if you have an up-and-coming quarterback, you want to make sure it can be a good fit, whether he's a defensive guy or offensive guy. So you want to have those kind of conversations and think, for them to, have opinions, but they're not directing you. That's what I'm getting at, directing you to who to hire. I don't agree with that for players. I just don't. I think the organization should have full say-so, and then when they get down to their last 2 people or so, how many of us, last 3, they ask you, what are your thoughts? If you're the quarterback, or maybe even a leader, that's been with the organization for a long time. That's about it, at least in the NFL. I know NBA is a little bit different, but I still don't want my superstar player making that decision.
Yeah, so like with the Titans this offseason, did Big Jeff have a say-so? Like, did they go to Big Jeff about, hey, these are the guys that we're kind of looking at? Did Rand have that conversation with him? And that's where I'm curious about how this process goes, especially in the NFL, because like we all assumed that LeBron had a major role in this. We all assumed that AD had a major voice in this. But with you guys, and especially even like with what the Titans are going through going into this offseason, we heard all these names of coaches where players texting Rand going, ooh, I like this one. Ooh, I'm not a fan of this one.
They were texting him?
No, I'm just asking. I don't know if they did. I was just saying, like, would you think that would have happened?
I would say no.
Yeah.
No. Now, and especially, Rand's a young up-and-coming, GM who's running the organization. He probably wanted this to be his decision now. Did he run it by once he had already made that decision? I think absolutely. So whether it was a DC or OC, I don't think in the NFL, besides the quarterback, and it's got to be a veteran quarterback who's been there, he's kind of a
right,
staple.
so Will Levis isn't making that choice.
No, he was not. He was not. So I don't think anybody with the Titans organization was part of, if I was making a guess, was part of any decision-making in this process. I think it's all the head honchos up top. I think that's what their job is to do. And you as a player is to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to benefit you if I'm Rand. And then, you're talking to your star players, Simmons and whoever else you want to put in that category. So, no, I don't think so. No, that didn't happen.
Was that nerve-wracking for you after your rookie year when the coaching change took place?
I was a rookie, so it was a little different than looking at it. I'm like, hey, man, I just want to make sure I'm be around. I
don't care who the coach is. I just want to make him happy so I play.
It was my second year, so then it happened like 6 games in. And so, Fisher's already on the staff, and then they just brought him as an interim. And then naturally, you're always pushing the interim. We kind of went in a different direction, and it seemed to be great and refreshing. And then, if they asked me my opinion, which they did at that time, I said, yeah, I think this would be a good call. Because only reason why I said that was because not knowing a lot is that he ran the same scheme we're already in. And so for defensive side of it, yeah, man, we just keep it rocking and rolling.
You get everything. Oh, I know this.
Right. There's no change. And that's always tough for people slight it as though it's easy from on the outside. And I get that. But Callahan and the whole new offense been different for Levis. There's going to be a point in time early, not probably now, but when they first hired him and he was out there at OTA, it was all new to him. It's almost like he's a rookie again. And I think he's the type to attack everything that he does. So it may not felt that, but it's about timing, comfort level, natural instinct, instead of thinking through the process, instead of just naturally acting on the process. 2 different things, and he has to go through that, and that's what they're going through right now. And you hoping by training camp it becomes something natural. And he's going to make some mistakes when it gets live bullets, just because it's almost like, I won't give him a rookie again, but a new system is never comforting on either side of the ball, especially quarterback, when you get out there on the football field, because you want it to be natural. So I don't know how much of this scheme and system that he can relate to some of the things he's ran in Kentucky to what he ran last year. And that's what you do as a vet player once you're in the league, to say this is this and then that's what I do. But then you got to make decisions. I mean, quick decisions when you're quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see, does that happen early before the season starts? You'll see it in preseason when he's out there? Or does it take 3, 4, 5, 6 games where he's starting to bloop, 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 and it's just happening. And then before you're like, dang, man, he's come a long way from the beginning. And could that cost the Titans a game early on because he just doesn't feel as comfortable yet in live action?
Right. And we're actually going to hear from Brian Callahan tomorrow, because Titans have OTAs that are starting tomorrow. It's their last OTA before training camp coming up next month, and we'll hear from them. Also, we'll have your Ding Dong of the Week for your opportunity to win tickets to go watch the Atlanta Braves coming up at 2 o'clock. Matter of fact, Greg hops in on the FNM Bank chat just a second ago to let Blaine know how much he loved watching him hit somebody. Not a comment you really see every day. Man, I just love seeing you hit somebody, Blaine.
If people really... It's really funny, man, because the Hitman kind of grew into something that I wasn't. I was an aggressive player, but I wasn't like a knockout artist per se. And to hang around the league to make the team, I thought that's what I had to do. And if I wanted to make it, so then it became, I became the Hitman in theory. Going to, coming out of college, any cornerback was not the Hitman.
Yeah.
And I was an aggressive corner, and when you're a boundary corner, most of those guys become safeties in the National Football League. So it became something bigger than I thought, and I really only did it because that's the only way I thought I was going to make the team. Really.
In 2024, would you have had T-shirts that had Hitman on them?
If I was playing today?
If you're playing now and the nickname started,
absolutely.
I mean, think about how many local Nashville businesses would have had Hitman on
man, that would have been awesome. Yeah, I waited a little bit too late. Me and Mark Robb had Fire and Ice because so that was kind of cool. But that was towards the last 3 years, and then it was gone. It was gone. He was gone. Then the next year I was gone. So yeah.
Mark hops in and says, Lakers have no chance of winning a championship, as we talked about how Dan Hurley just a second ago rejected the Lakers' offer. Says no chance. Hurley would probably take a Nuggets, Mavs, Suns, or Timberwolves job over that one. Just saying. Well, heck yeah, he's going to take the Mavs job. You get into the NBA Finals with the Mavs. Get the NBA Finals last year with the Suns. Like those have their rosters are a little bit different in that. I mean, it's like saying Brian Callahan, well, he will take the Chiefs job over taking the Titans job. Well, no crap. No crap. Like, I love Andy Reid. You played for him, but I'm just
Andy
saying.
Reid's a great bundle of fun, man.
It's a little bit easier to kind of figure all of that out.
You got my homies,
Yeah, now. We were going to do Ding Dong of the Week for me. I'm going to give Blaine about 22 more minutes to think about this.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to everybody's going to get torched. That line's going to just blow up.
Well, then hold up. Then we're going to wait till 2 o'clock for yours, too, because this is where we're going to offer this up. So, for me, mine was actually just going out to haters. Just going out to haters. That's all I want to do. I'll tell you about that at 2 o'clock. But when we come back, Alex Bowman is going to sit down. You and Brad had the opportunity to talk to him last week to talk about the Ally 400 coming up in a few days here in Nashville. We'll have that for you when we come back. He is Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk. This is 104.5 The Zone.
I am Brad Hopkins. Time for us to turn to NASCAR as we bring in Alex Bowman. Bowman the Showman is what they call him. Alex, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Man, that's what he's really talking
about.
Yeah,
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, great for joining us. Hey, let's start out with the nickname, Bowman the Showman. Who gave you that nickname? How did you get it?
Oh, I don't know, but it's a pretty terrible nickname. I don't know if people are supposed to like their nicknames, I feel like it's a little cringy. But unfortunately, I'm very stuck with it. It has not gone anywhere for a long time. So, I don't know if it was Darrell Waltrip or Mike Joy or one of the guys in the Fox booth got me on that one. But pretty stuck for sure.
Well, what nickname do you have that nobody knows about? Maybe we
should start calling you.
That we should call you. Yeah.
That's been a question for a long time because everybody's like, "Oh, you don't like your nickname? What should it be?" Like, I can't give myself a nickname.
Yeah,
that's
against
true. The rules. But I wish they would have come up with a cooler one than what I got. But no, that's okay. It's I don't think it's going anywhere for sure.
How about Bowman the Bowman? No, I'm just kidding. That's kind of a terrible one. Like you're some kind of archer or something.
Too.
You're right. Hey, but you are a team driver and a team owner. That's almost like being a quarterback and also an owner of the team. How does that work? You being an owner of the dirt midget and sprint car racing team, Alex Bowman Racing. How's that?
Yeah, for sure. That's been a really fun project. Obviously, driving the NASCAR stuff for Hendrick Motorsports and working with Ally is a lot of fun, and definitely gave me the opportunity to kind of go back to my roots a little bit and start a dirt team a couple years ago. And, we've kind of been on and off with it. This year, we've kind of scaled it back a little bit, but it's been super fun. I grew up racing those types of cars, so being able to go back to my roots and support local short track racing is super fun. So Ally's been all on board with that and going racing this weekend with those cars. So that's really cool. I love the mechanical side of working on cars. I really grew up working on my own race cars, but also my dad had a really small body shop in Arizona that I grew up working at. So I've been around cars my whole life. Obviously, on the NASCAR side, there's people way smarter and way more qualified to work on them than me, so I don't get to work on anything. So having ABR and being able to tinker with those cars is something that I really enjoy, and it's been a lot of fun.
He drives the Ally 48 Chevrolet Camaro. Alex Bowman joining us here on the show.
Well, this is Brad, and I'm Blaine. Naturally, we're former NFL guys, and naturally, he's a big car collector himself. Brad is. So I know you a little bit dabble in the car collection field. Like, what's some of your favorite cars that you've tinkered with now? That's maybe in the driveway or in the garage that a lot of people don't know about you.
Mm.
Yeah, the car obsession is
it's real, isn't it, Alex? It's real, isn't it?
It is very real. I think so. I'm at like 16 at the moment, which is way too many. And everything, like, I'm always working on something. There's always a project. Always tinkering with something. But I've got a couple Corvettes that are really cool, that make a lot of horsepower, like well over 1,000 horsepower, that are super fun. I've got 1966 Chevy C10 that's really cool. A bunch of stuff. I'm kind of all over the map. I've kind of got most different genres covered. I feel like there's a car for every day. Like, every day has like a situation that a certain car will make more fun. So try to cover all the bases, but a lot of good ones.
Man, I know that's probably on the sidebar, one of your hobbies, but I see you also are a dog lover. Kind of take us down that road of, I love for people to get to know you, not only as a racer, but off, the racetrack, so people can get to know who you are, Alex. So kind of take us a little bit through, your two dogs and then your fondness for your dogs.
Yeah, it's so I rescued my dog Roscoe in 2013, and then I got Finn in 2016. So unfortunately, Roscoe passed away last year, but he kind of, the rescue process and everything, like, and seeing what he had gone through kind of started my passion for trying to help, homeless pets. So between myself and Ally, we worked really hard with Best Friends organization, trying to raise money for homeless pets and help out where we can. And we've raised over $500,000 now for homeless pets, which has been super cool. Obviously, you know, I love my dogs. They're excited when I get home. If I had a good weekend or a bad weekend, they don't care, which is a nice thing. So, yeah, they're the best part of every day. And, yeah, it's been really meaningful to be able to raise that much money for homeless pets. And, you know, that money's gone to work and definitely improved a lot of situations. So that's been cool to be a part of. You know, really the people at Ally have really done the legwork on that. And, you know, when your appearances and stuff are at animal shelters and you're able to do things that you're passionate about and that mean a lot to you, it's pretty cool. So it's been a fun process. Obviously, you know, that's a big problem here. It's a big problem worldwide, but just trying to make a little bit of a difference has been really cool.
Race car driver Alex Bowman. I guess I want to add a little bit to that. Is that one of your, I guess, proudest moments outside of racing is you're rescuing dogs, or is there something else we need to know that you're also heavily involved in that no one knows or talks about?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really been our biggest initiative. When I first came to the 48 car and started working with Ally, that was kind of the first thing that we circled and have been working on since 2021. So obviously, you know, we're pretty far in on that and continue to work with local shelters each and every week, and we donate to a different local shelter at every track we go to through the entire year. So that's been really cool. But you know, we're kind of all over the place. Like next week, we're going to Nashville and going to do some community service there ahead of the Ally 400. So that'll be super fun. Kind of was getting the rundown on what we're going to be doing earlier this morning, and sounds like we're going to be doing some landscaping and some bathroom work in some local houses. So that'll be cool. And yeah, I mean, just anything we can do to give back, right? Like I get to drive in circles for a living, and I'm super fortunate to be able to do that. And working with Ally to be able to give back to local communities has been really fun.
Is there a website we can go to before I hand it back to my partner in crime over here, Brad?
You know, I think really the best place to check it all out is all of Ally's social media. But then Ally's website obviously has information, as well as the Best Friends Animal Shelter has their own website. So Best Friends has kind of been who we've teamed up with for all the animal rescue stuff, and they've got some pretty lofty goals on trying to end kill shelters and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. They're a great group to be a part of. And we try to donate to them whenever we can. And yeah, I think we've got kind of a lot of different things going on, a lot of places you can check it out. But yeah, it's cool to be a part of.
Alex Bowman, race car driver.
Hey, Alex, you started your career at the age of 7 years old in Arizona on the short tracks. Was that ever a geographical situation? Because we kind of know that NASCAR cut its teeth in the South. You know what I mean? We understand that maybe a geography thing. The Bush brothers, I think they started out in California. Yeah. Has that ever been an issue for you being an Arizona kid?
Wait, oh, yeah. Arizona or North Carolina? Where you at?
Yeah, for sure. It was different growing up in Arizona. You know, I mean, going to school, like, I want to be a race car driver. Kids were like, "What? Like, that's
wow.
weird."
That's weird.
But there was a couple local tracks, and honestly, like I would say, the 80s and 90s, like before I was racing, obviously, like Arizona had a lot, and even further back than that. But it was really like a good place for racing in general. Like really cool short tracks. A lot of open wheel guys came from Arizona, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys that I really looked up to. But yeah, I mean, pretty quickly, you know, as I progressed through, it was like, you better move to North Carolina. So obviously Charlotte's kind of the hotbed for all the NASCAR stuff, just like Indianapolis is a hotbed if you want to race IndyCar. Like everywhere, kind of every different series kind of has their places. But yeah, it's definitely different living in Charlotte, but gosh, I've been here for 15 years now, so feels like home, and yeah, it was a big move for sure.
Let's talk about the Ally 400. NASCAR in Nashville. That just has a ring to it, you know? I mean, with Nashville being one of the bigger cities in the South, it just makes sense that they host a race or two. So just tell us about your affiliation with not only the Ally 400, but maybe even coming to Nashville to do races.
Yeah, it's really cool. Obviously, Nashville is such a great town, right? I don't think you can have a bad time there. So,
right?
Pretty cool place to get to travel to in general, but obviously having the Ally 400 there, Nashville Super Speedway, like it didn't have a cup race for a long time, and to see it come back a couple of years ago and to have it be a mainstay on the calendars has been really cool. So the fans out there are great. It's always a packed house. And all the events that kind of go on through the whole week, whether that you're on Broadway or doing whatever, is really cool. So excited to get there. It's been a rough racetrack for us the last couple of years. We've struggled a little bit, but I think we'll be a lot better this year, and I'm looking forward to it.
We'll get you out of here on this one, Alex. I mean, football is a pretty physical, heated sport. But I'm now finding out that NASCAR can be just as heated. Ricky Stenhouse, Kyle Busch, fisticuffs are flying, obviously some suspensions. Just talk about the heat on the track. I mean, how has that been adjusting and getting used to those guys that obviously sometimes take it out of the car?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, imagine if you played against the same team every week for 36 weeks.
Oh, my
God.
You would find somebody that you absolutely hated.
No
right?
doubt, Alex. Oh.
Yeah, so we race the same guys every week for 36 weeks. So you find people that you absolutely hate. And, I mean, you have little things that just build up and turn into big things. So, tempers definitely can get pretty flared up. I feel like I'm typically not that guy. I've had some controversies here and there, got into it with a couple people here and there, but typically I'm not the one that's super angry outside the car. But yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. I will tell you that it's been really entertaining for me. Like, I really enjoy it when it's other people. There's always some good popcorn involved, but yeah, it's been entertaining lately. Like the Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse thing was pretty wild for sure. And it's hot inside the race cars too, right? It's 140 degrees and we're in there for 4 hours. So enough things to get mad about that when you get out, if somebody messed you up, it can be pretty frustrating for sure.
He is Alex Bowman. You need to catch him in the Chevrolet number 48 Ally car this upcoming weekend at the Ally 400. It's the fourth rendition of this race, and you've been fantastic, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a
Appreciate
good one.
it, Alex.
All right. Alex Bowman, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Joe Hunk. Dan Hurley is making some news this afternoon as he has officially turned down the LA Lakers' offer to remain the head coach at UConn and go for a third straight national championship. Reportedly, the offer from the Lakers was for 6 years and $70 million. The Pittsburgh Steelers, though, have agreed to a brand new deal with Mike Tomlin. It is a 3-year contract extension that will keep him in Pittsburgh through at least 2027. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Vols. This is the flagship station for your Tennessee Titans. This is 104.5 The Zone. Phone lines are open to you. We want to hear your ding dong of the week. 615-737-1045 will get you in. The number one ding dong this week will get a pair of tickets to go watch the Atlanta Braves host the Tampa Bay Rays coming up this Sunday for Father's Day. So make sure.
Father's Day. Like, how do I forgot all about Father's Day.
I totally did well. I did as well. My wife was asking me, what are we doing this weekend? I had no clue why she was asking me. I was like, you're the one supposed to make the deal.
I did the same thing. I was like, we could go out to dinner somewhere. Yeah. I didn't know she had a reason to be asking me.
No clue.
She's probably, that was a ding dong right there. That was me being ding dongery.
Yeah, see, so make sure you get in. 615-737-1045. We'll get in, and we want to hear your ding-dong of the week, and the winner will receive those tickets to go watch the Braves and Rays at Truist coming up on Sunday. He is Blaine Bishop. I am Joe Hunk. Coming up in about 17 minutes from right now, we're going to head over to Knoxville as Vince Ferrara is going to be joining us. He was on the call all weekend there for the Vol Network. You heard it right here on 104.5 The Zone as the Vols were playing. But now it's time for our ding-dongs of the week. Blaine, you said you have two. Like, how are we picking from two?
Yeah, I do.
That's impressive, to be honest with you. You got multiple? If you got two?
Yeah, that's what she said.
That's abnormal.
But naturally, my ding-dong is actually me and picking the Mavs once again. And I'm a triple down. You know, I want them to win. They're going to win a game. I mean, the odds are for the But, yeah, and Kyrie just not showing up is super duper surprising for me that he hasn't even showed up. As Kendrick Perkins said, he hasn't showed up for the finals yet. So that's my first thing. I'm going to save my second one for after you guys get yours in.
Second one makes me nervous. Because, I mean,
I'm a little nervous myself.
I mean, again, yes, look, the game was better last night for the NBA Finals. Like, I turned it on over after the game was done with the Vols, and I was going, okay, at least it's a little bit closer. But, yeah, no, I think if the Mavs are going to win a game, it's got to be game 3. Because, as a matter of fact, you'll hear it on the radio station. I'm picking the Celtics to win game 4. FanDuel.com/Hunk. And so it was just saying that, I'm picking them for that. Just letting you know you can go there.
I'm still saying the Mavs are going to win the series. How crazy am I? No, that is ding dongery right there.
Okay, that one you may be your own ding dong of the week by the time we all come back on Monday, because Game 4 is supposed to happen on this week. And
I thought after the first quarter, both the superstars, Luka and Kyrie, were present and accounted for, and Luka naturally was pretty much the entire game, but Kyrie no. And they got to play great. Even their role players around them aren't playing as well either. You know what I'm interested in? Why have they been this way all season where they don't play Tim Hardaway Jr.? Because they're getting open shots. They're just missing them.
Right.
Threes, the role players. I'm like, man, I looked it up. He's making $19 million. He just sits there?
For a bench player.
I'm like, oh, man, something must have happened during the season. They just went, sideways or something, because this makes no sense. And he hadn't played in any other playoff series either, too, except, end of games where they were blowing them out or they were getting blown out. So, yeah, that's man, I think they need his shooting. He can put the ball in the basket.
Now, you can also watch us on Zone TV, as you can watch every single show on Zone TV, and on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of that, and the FNM Bank chat is open to you. Orlando says that his ding-dong of the week is Vols fans thinking that they are the only battered school in the world with their bald Vol syndrome. BVS is what it's called. Of thinking, and you know what? That goes into what my ding-dong of the week is, because the Vols lost game 2 of the Super Regional to Evansville, and after they lost it, I saw numerous articles. I had friends that were texting me and group chats that I was in being like, oh, is this Tony V doing what Tony V does? He's great. He's great in the regular season, but then you turn around and you get to the postseason and he somehow chokes. If you watch the game against Evansville, it was literally death by 1,000 cuts. Like there were multiple times, especially in the big inning that Evansville had, where you had
talking about game 2.
In game 2.
Oh, I thought it was over.
No. So in game 2, Evansville had this really big inning, and a part of it, there were times where they barely made contact with the ball. The problem is they would hit it to the shortstop, and because the ball was hit so softly that the shortstop couldn't try to turn the double play, he then would have to go to first. Mm-hmm. Or he would have to go to second to get the easy out, and the runner would remain at first, and they couldn't get the double play. Well, then like a batter or two later, same exact thing would happen, but this time it would go to the second baseman. He couldn't turn around to try to get the double play, so he'd have to go to first to get it, and a run would score. And then you would have like a seeing eye single that would barely make it out of the infield to center field, and next thing you know, then comes the bomb. It wasn't like they were getting destroyed in the game. It was, ball was not hit hard enough. Like the exit velo was 35 miles per hour. If it's 40 miles per hour, then
are they just talking about the Vols just don't have good luck? No, is that what they were, that's what the fan does. That's what it's called, fandom.
Yeah, and so you started talking about if Evansville wins this, it'll be the greatest upset since this. I'm just like, guys,
oh, no.
It was a loss that you went into the top of the 9th inning, and the Vols had the bases loaded with arguably the number 1 hitter in the country up, and he just missed a game-winning home run. Like, he barely missed it off the bat. It ends up being a pop-out to the outfield. Like, stop freaking out because they lost to an Evansville team. Like, it was...
There was a reason why they were there.
Yes.
Surprise.
Yes.
I mean, they made it, and now there's a reason why they made it.
Well, and when you start getting into game 2 and game 3 of a series like this, you start seeing pitchers over and over and over, like Kirby, the Mustache King. He comes in and he just gets raked by Evansville because they'd seen him the night before, so they were used to seeing his pitches. So it's different going into game 2 than what it was going into game 1, and all these people with the BVS was already thinking, if Vitello loses game 3, like are we done? Are we screwed? Like, we're the number 1 team in the country. We've got all of that going against us, and boom. The BVS happens, and then Christian Moore comes out very first at bat, and he hits a bomb to tie the game up in game 3, and the Vols don't look back after that. After the first inning, it's over. I mean, they just destroyed Evansville in the first inning. They took all of their hope. It was basically finish him from Mortal Kombat. Done. Took their soul. So that's mine on that one. Let's go to the phone lines, though, as we'll stay in Nashville. Alan, welcome in. And Ding Dong, what is your Ding Dong of the week, sir?
The entire selection committee that failed to take Caitlin Clark and further women's basketball to the nth degree.
That was my second ding dong.
Alan, hold on the line, man. We're going to pick a winner here in just that. That's your second one?
That was my second one. I was waiting to see if somebody else had it, but it's it's really interesting. Because there's a process. It was a 3-year process to even make the Olympic team. And those ladies were practicing periodically over this time. So naturally, she wasn't part of that because she went so far at Iowa that she never got even to participate if there was an opportunity. So now she is the biggest face of the WNBA. And I think now on the business side, if you want to continue that growth across the country, in the world, globally, I think even if she's a role player, as much as that would seem weird and she's signing autographs, I think you have to put her on the team for those reasons. Now, I'm not saying take anybody off either, by the way. I'm saying she just needs to be on the team regardless of the standards of why y'all put the team together and why she shouldn't be. And there's guys or ladies that have been missing over time. And I know a lot of people could call in and talk about Candace Parker, who wasn't on there at one time. So I just think for the growth of the game, you have to, even if she's a limited amount of playing time, because most of the ladies I think are 26 or older. They've been participating over a 3-year window, and she wasn't part of that. So I get that part, but you're trying to take this WNBA to the next level. You can hate her, love her, or not. She is the face of the WNBA. Sorry, it is what it is, and people are now watching games. Do you know they had to move one of the Indiana Fever game, the Mystics, they played into an NBA arena? So many people wanted to see her play. Once that happened, then it changed the trajectory of the way you look at not only her, of how you want to utilize her and help grow your game at a whole nother level. Sometimes you must make exceptions to the rule. And I think this is one of the time. Now, it could set her up for failure because, she gets there and then doesn't even play very much. Some people are going to be pissed. Okay, but if this team is as good as they think they are and win another gold, she should get to play a lot.
Right.
So if you're out there dominating. Maybe somebody can't play. I think the gray lady hasn't played all season in the WNBA, who is a guard. Then they put her on the team. But I think this is now a business decision. This is not about who earned the right to be on the team. And I think if you're talking about business-minded and talking about growth, she has to be on the team.
Gotcha. Now, we've got some more people on hold that want to give their ding-dongs of the week. Vince Ferrara is going to be joining us here in just a second as well to talk about the Vols heading to Omaha. We'll continue taking your phone calls as well. He's Blaine Bishop. We got people wanting to tell us about their ding-dong, so we'll have more of that when we continue on 104.5 The Zone.
Or your Hunk. For many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 24 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we are now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hundred Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. So pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic starting in the barn of his backyard of a single-wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can just visit them online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com. But always tell Blaze, you.
Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to head to Knoxville as Vince Ferrara is going to be joining us, as you heard him all weekend on the Vol Network, as Tennessee is heading to Omaha. As they're going to be playing Florida State in their very first game.
Omaha! I couldn't resist. That was Peyton Manning. That was him doing a check. Omaha.
Yeah, Omaha. There's T-shirts out now.
Did you get that, Jackson?
He did.
You did not. He didn't know what I was doing.
I got it. I knew what you were doing. I played the Peyton Manning drop right after.
You were looking puzzled back there.
So this tournament is going to be, one side of the bracket is going to be Tennessee, Florida State, North Carolina, and Virginia. Ooh. And then the other side of the bracket is going to be Texas A&M and Florida, and then Kentucky will play the winner of NC State and Georgia. That game is going to be happening tonight. That's the final super regional, and we will see about how times and everything like that once those games wrap up. But we're still looking for our Ding Dong of the week. You can shoot them in on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, as well as Facebook through the F&M Bank chat, or you can give us a call at 615-737-1045. Let's stay in Nashville. Eric, welcome in 1045. What's your Ding Dong this week?
So, guys, I don't think this was deliberate, but you may have heard about this. So I guess it was last Thursday, the first day of the opening of the latest PGA tournament. There was a female interviewer that had an interview, and I don't know if somebody told her what happened. She thought she was going to have an interview with former Texas and Tennessee Titans quarterback Vince Young, so she decided she was going to go interview her. Well, turns out it was not Tennessee Titans and Texas quarterback Vince Young. It was actually a coach on the staff of the Citadel. So, and I don't know if somebody told her that or if that was her fault. I'm just going to go with whoever gave her the information that was former Texas and Titans quarterback Vince Young. But unfortunately, she's the one that did the interview, and she'll unfortunately never be able to live that moment down. I don't think it was deliberate, but just whoever gave her that information. Guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, well, hold on the line, Eric. Okay, so that's Eric's. Alan was talking about Caitlin Clark being left off Team USA. That's yours, right? Like you agree with those two?
Yeah.
All right, so Jackson, I think that we're all in agreement that Alan and his Ding Dong of the week is our winner. So
Alan is our winner.
All right, so Alan's going to go ahead and get that. And so that is his Ding Dong of the week. Mine was everybody that was freaking out on the Vols, thinking that they were done for because they lost one game to Evansville. Like, you're going to eventually
they were going to down and do it again and lose again.
It was this is it. We suck. Like, we're not going to beat Evansville a second time. We're going to screw this up, and we're not going to be able to make it to the College World Series as a number 1 seed. Like,
just think if the players thought like that.
Well, and that's
you play baseball.
Yeah.
Like, so just imagine if you lost the game and you had a meltdown. You really believe, oh man, it's going to happen again.
No, because I'm sitting here thinking,
think that.
Christian Moore's up to bat. We had the bases loaded, and we were so close that any base hit, double, a seeing eye single, a wounded duck, whatever it is, the game keeps going, and we probably would have tied that up with as bad as we played. And as the luck was in their way, and you had Evansville have 2 or 3 innings where they were scoring 3 or 4 runs because just things were dropping Evansville away. That's not one that you could sit and go, oh, we're going to get it. Matter of fact, let's go now to Knoxville as Vince Ferrara was on the call all weekend long. And Vince, what we're talking about is, everybody kind of freaking out on the Vols after that loss to Evansville. But for you being around the team, what was the thought process, and how was this team acting going into that Game 3 last night?
Well, you're right. There were some people that were freaking out. I wouldn't say it was the whole fan base by any means. You know how it goes. It's sort of the vocal majority. And look, this team has had a lot more people jump on board as time has gone on under Tony Vitello. Because it's people that haven't been longtime baseball fans. It's frankly a lot of football fans that are just kind of jumping on the wave and riding it out. So you kind of some people bring that football mentality of every game being the be all end all, and baseball is not that way at all. So I look, it was surprising what happened because Tennessee won Game 1 like they were supposed to, and then they were up 4-0. early on with the long ball working for him. So for Evansville to come back and rally against Tennessee and separate, and then Tennessee not be able to get all the way to the finish line, that was surprising. So it shook people up. But I looked at it like baseball. It brings to you and reminds you all the time. Baseball's a day-to-day sport. Mm-hmm. Every day, every game is completely different. It's a reset. And we saw it throughout a lot of the regionals, even in games that went to some of the super regionals that went 2-0. One day is 24-4, the other day is 10-8, or 4-3 one day and 18-1 the next day. So it's just very different. And Tennessee had the pitching advantage with depth and quality of arms. I kind of figured that it would run out for Evansville. I thought Tennessee would have a much better approach in Game 3 than they did in Game 2, where I thought some of their swings were a little long, while Evansville was putting a bunch of balls in play and spoiling 2-strike pitches. In fact, 6 of their 13 hits in Game 2 came with 2 strikes and a count. 4 of them were with 2 strikes and 2 outs, which means you're close to getting out of the inning. So Evansville just put it all together in Game 2 and played loose. But the talent would win out, and Tennessee was able to get it done, and then a great pitching performance from Xander Sechrest, who's been awesome the last 4 starts. 23 innings pitched with 2 earned runs allowed in those 4 starts against good competition. So it kind of went the way I thought.
Well, and you were talking about the starting pitching, and I know that going to Omaha, you're going to have a lot of these pitchers going to have to pitch a good number of innings depending on the wins and losses of this. But, looking at Chris Stamos, I know that he's kind of acting more as like an opener throughout, a lot of his starts going 1 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings. What is the reasoning for this? Because I feel like the leash is so incredibly short for him that the moment that either a run comes across or they get 1 or 2 runners on, Vitello's already pulling him.
Yeah, and that's honestly, that's kind of by design. They'd love to get him one time through the lineup, and it is something that has worked for them a good part of the year. I want to say it's 8 or 9 consecutive starts he has made in Game 1 of a series. And when you have a long guy like A.J. Causey, who basically acts as a starter, just starting with the second time through the lineup, that's worked for him. And Causey can get you to the finish line when he comes in. And look, yes, it wasn't great for him in the Super Regional, but he was money for them in the SEC tournament. And so he's had some times where if he can get you to the 3rd or 4th inning, and you're feeling pretty good about it, because Causey can a lot of times take you the rest of the way, or maybe bring in Kirby Connell or someone else to get the final 3 outs. But that recipe has worked, and it's unconventional. But to me, it shows that this coaching staff with Tony Vitello and Frank Anderson, they know how to get the most out of their players. They're not trying to just do one thing with the players, whether it fits or not. They've adapted to their personnel. That, to me, is great coaching. And it's been different for them when they've had frontline, high draft pick potential guys. So they've made it work. And honestly, Game 3 had been that way for a while, but Xander Sechrest has gotten hot, and they've let him go longer. He had 6 1/3 innings, was his longest outing of his career. So it's worked, and just piecing it together. But I think it's just more of the person making the most of the personnel. And Stamos has had some good starts, so it's just different.
You heard him all weekend on the Vol Network here on 104.5 The Zone. You can hear him every single morning on the Sports Animal. Vince Ferrara joins us right now on 104.5 The Zone.
Vince, Blaine here, man, and thanks for coming on. I'm curious, sure. Do you think that Tennessee baseball has, enough depth, I guess, in the pitching rotation to win it all?
Well, I think the key to that, Blaine, is Drew Beam. Oh. And Drew Beam has kind of been the opposite of Xander Sechrest. He has struggled in his last 5 outings. I think it's 20 earned runs and 24 2/3.
So he has not been as sharp. He couldn't get that far. He was on the mound for some of those 2-strike hits that Evansville was getting in game 2, and he hasn't been able to go as deep in the ball games. And earlier in the year, he'd have maybe a rough inning, but then he would get hot after that and then be able to go deep in the ball games and settle in. And that's, I think, why Tony Vitello left him in and tried to get him, even though he gave up those 3 runs in the 4th. He tried to get him some back on track and see if he can sort of work his way out of trouble, knowing that their offense could probably still provide some runs for him. But I don't think that ultimately with that kind of competition he is going to face and playing so frequently, that if they don't have a really good version of Drew Beam, that they can win it all. If they do, with the way Seacrest is pitching and the way typically Causey, Snead, Connell, Stamos getting you one time through, they have some other arms that they haven't really used a bunch, but have been effective for them, especially in the SEC tournament. They got great performances from freshman Dylan Loyce from Pigeon Forge. Marcus Phillips has gotten up to 100 on the gun. He's a guy that's playing in his second year in the program. So I do think at their best they've got arms, and you see guys that elevate and just give you performances that you haven't seen from them all year. They're going to need some of that, but they need their dudes to be dudes. And I think Drew Beam is a part of having that pitching depth that you talked about that would be good enough to bring home a national championship.
Well, their dudes will be dudes, or the hitting, and it's been exceptional with all the home runs and all the records they've done with the university there, whether it's game by game or for the whole entire season. I keep hearing this, and I'm like, well, the wall is the wall and the length is the length. Will this transfer in Omaha, Omaha? And I'm going, well, yeah, why wouldn't it? Or is it because the pitching is going to be that much better? You tell me.
Well, the thing about the Schwab, I think is what they call it, because now it's like Charles Schwab Field, but it's big, and I've been there and called games in 2021. Sometimes it depends on the weather. Sometimes the ball will carry there. It is a bigger ballpark, but there's times where it will carry there. And Tennessee hit a bunch of home runs on the road this year, too. I think they had back-to-back road trips at Auburn and Kentucky where they had like 14 home runs. Oh, by the way, Kentucky's at the College World Series also. Yep. So they've hit home runs everywhere. They've also won games, including at home, where they didn't hit any home runs. They hit a bunch of them, but when they're right, they're not reliant 100% on those home runs. Here's another thing about Lindsey Nelson Stadium is Tennessee pitches there too. So they're not giving up just as many home runs as they're hitting. So that's part of the deal also. And even with Lindsey Nelson, sometimes it just depends on the wind pattern as well. So I'm not worried about that. I think Tennessee they hit a ton of doubles too, and that works in that ballpark also. Blake Burke is a doubles machine. He had 3 of them yesterday and leads the SEC and one of the nation's leaders in doubles. So they got gap power too. I'm not worried about that being an issue because they've done it pretty much in every venue.
Well, this lastly, real quick, I might have missed it, but who was the Super Region MVP? Did I miss that, or do they give that out?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
The Super Region. Who was the MVP of the Super Region?
I didn't see it all
either. I don't know if they.
Yeah, Todd Help was talking about on SEC Now. Like they were talking about how well Burke played. They're like, was he named the MVP? And I don't think that anybody knows. It. Yeah, no, I don't know if anybody knows.
To be honest with you, I didn't see that. I didn't see that in Tennessee's release, and maybe it was announced later on. In the regional, they sent out a ballot for the media to vote. I didn't see one for the super regional, so obviously, sadly, I don't know if they did name one.
Yeah, that's what I was asking because I didn't see it either.
No.
So, yeah.
And Vince Ferrara joining us for a few more minutes here on 104.5 The Zone. And we joked about Todd Walker, but the one thing that they said on SEC Now, they played the clip of Coach Vitello. And Vince, I know that you guys probably watched this thing afterwards. I know that you probably talked about it this morning on the Sports Animal. Is there any way you can decipher what on earth Tony Vitello was talking about after the game in his opening monologue?
Yeah, and we played it because it was honestly fascinating audio, and it went back to the game 2 post game where someone asked him, "Hey, if you guys have been the number 1 team all year, if you guys lose, what do you think about it being an unsuccessful season or something to that effect?" But they used the term unsuccessful season. He said, "There's no way it would be an unsuccessful season, first of all. Second of all," he said he liked where they were. And then he circled back in game 3 and he started his press conference with that vent session saying that one of his players was bothered by that kind of questioning. Anyone would call this season unsuccessful if they don't win with everything they have done. They won regular season and tournament championship, won 50-plus games, all that kind of stuff. And so that, I think, fueled Tony even more. I'm sure he was tweaked about it before, and then when his players was upset about that, it just added, and I think it just started to kind of fester in him and really bulge up to where he wanted to express himself. So, look, he's a fiery Italian. I know a little bit about that. So I think he just wanted to get a bunch of stuff off his chest, and he went into a deep dive on what success meant. And then, look, here's the thing. His players, I'm sure, loved it. The fans certainly did. We got a bunch of texts and messages saying, tell me which wall I can run through after Coach Vitello talked. And then that right there is gold in recruiting. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. He mentioned recruits there too. Although he did tell them, if you're just looking for money, don't waste our time. Mm-hmm. I thought that was unbelievable. But I think it was something that he just wanted to get off his chest. To me, would not worry about, that kind of stuff if people are criticizing him or whatever. But, hey, he had it in him and he just let it go. And I don't think it's a real detriment to anyone. I think it would only end up being a positive to most, even though, you'd like to see him more celebrate than get stuff off his chest.
No doubt about it, Vince. We went with Vince Ferrara. I guess lastly, before we let you go, is, he may be, speaking of money, he may be getting an extension after this thing because I think they have a great shot of winning it all. Do you think just having some experience there with a lot of not only the coaches, but actual players who've been to Omaha before, does that help in any way, keep the jitters down?
Yeah, he's talked about that. He's been asked about if the experience helps, and he thinks so. It doesn't guarantee you anything, because he did point out, like, Coastal Carolina didn't have any experience, and they've won it, and there have been some others that didn't have the experience. But you have guys that have been there and have the disappointment of being there. You also have a bunch of players in today's portal world. Everybody's got a bunch of roster turnover, and so there are plenty of guys that have not experienced it also, even though they do have kind of a veteran team. So for some, the Christian Moores, the Blake Burks, I think it's definitely plus Cal Stark, and then there are a number of others. It will help them to have that little bit of taste and maybe know what to do in terms of routine or mindset. But look, this is a pretty chalky College World Series, and if Georgia wins, then you got 5 SEC teams and 3 ACC teams, or it could be 4 and 4. So the level of competition is going to be big. You got the rich getting richer with everyone having help from the NIL to get to where they're at, and it'll be fascinating, but it'll be difficult. So experience won't guarantee anything.
No doubt.
Well, Vince, we appreciate it. You and John Wilkerson killed it this weekend, man, and we look forward to hearing you guys when you get to Omaha.
Man, Joe Blaine, really appreciate it. Great to be on with you guys anytime. Give me a shout, and thanks for the kind words.
All right, thank you, sir. That is Vince Ferrara of Vol Network. You also can hear him on the Sports Animal every single morning in Knoxville as well. We will wrap everything up. And if you're on Zone TV, you see this booklet, and I showed this to Blaine earlier. I will explain what this little booklet in my hand is when we come back. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What you talking about, Willis? Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and I want to know if you have heard about peptides. And peptides are shaking up the fitness world. There are naturally occurring aminos in our bodies. And as we age, they start to decline. And at some point, they may need to be supplemented. This is why your workouts can stop being productive at the gym. Well, maybe you feel like you've hit a wall, or perhaps you feel tired all of the time. You may be struggling to stay awake even in the evenings. You're trying to get that evening nap, right? If you had that thought, this is just normal part of aging. It doesn't have to be that way. Peptides are proven to increase muscle and performance, burn fat, help with recovery between workouts, and more. And peptides can even help with motivation and mental clarity. These are safe, natural occurring aminos, not pharmaceuticals, a natural, holistic way to get your body back to peak performance. Plus, Edge Peptide Therapy has the most comprehensive blood panel around. So when you go to Edge, you will know exactly what you're going in for and what's inside of your body and what it needs to get back to peak performance, like I did. So feel better from the inside out. So go to edgepeptide.com. That's edgepeptide.com, or call at 615-724-1878. 724-1878.
3HL coming up in about 10 minutes from right now. Blaine Bishop across from me. I am Joe Hunk as we wrap up this Monday. Coming up tomorrow, Blaine, OTAs. Brian Callahan's going to be talking. And this is the last week of that we actually get to see Titans on the practice field before training camp.
Dang. It's right here now. It's going down the home stretch.
Well, think about it. I mean, when do you guys normally report for training camp? It's what?
Middle of July.
End of July.
Yeah. Well, I was on my birthday, the 24th.
Your birthday is the 24th? Okay.
Of July.
Write that down because I did not know that.
Yeah. So I never got to celebrate. I always was pissed off about that.
So look, I'm with you because my birthday is August 26th, and it's always around the first weekend of the college football season and around the holiday weekend. So like I never get to celebrate because I can't go anywhere. Because
you should just make it like that was your holiday.
See, what used to happen is that my gift used to be tickets to an event. Like it'd be a week one football game or something along those lines. So I'd go to like the Chick-fil-A kickoff that was in Atlanta or anything like that. Now, you asked at the beginning of the show about what I did this weekend, asked if I did CMA Fest. But no, this weekend was the infamous, I call it infamous now,
Joe
Hunkaberry family reunion. It's actually Hunkapillar family reunion, but very close. It's the Hunkapillar family reunion, and I'm on Zone TV right now. You can look at this: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I am holding up the very first edition of the Hunkapillar Times.
Oh, they passed out a printed out booklet.
We now have a family booklet, like a magazine
cool, man,
that has the family history in it, and it has stories from the Hunkapillar family.
I'm a little perturbed when I go to our reunion. We don't get this.
It is
every time they go over, I go, well, dang, I don't even remember. They sound like they said something different than the last time.
Yeah, like this is the page on Granny Wanda. Wanda Hunkapillar Wheeler is what she was known as.
Hunkapillar Wheeler. Did she develop a car?
I have no clue. I have no clue. I wish I'd know, and I wish I was in the will, but I have no clue about half of this stuff. I don't. Like I was reading it throughout the day because
that's really cool, man.
There's family pictures, there's inserts from newspapers that we have been in.
Where are you guys originally from?
So originally we're from the family was in North Carolina and Alabama.
Okay.
And what I learned this weekend, because we turned this into a class, like eventually we had notebooks, we had everything pulled out here because we were being told about it. Started in North Carolina,
learning history
moved to the state of Alabama. Okay. But then, and this is what I learned this past weekend, is then over a course of time, you saw that there were a lot of Hunkapillars that started popping up in Oklahoma. And you're like, wait, how do you go from North Carolina to Alabama to Oklahoma? We found out that there were a lot of Hunkapillars.
On the schooner?
Close. You're very close. We were part of the Trail of Tears. Oh, it's really nothing to be happy about. Like, it's a horrible event. Really? But it was a Trail of Tears where Native Americans got moved out of their land to Oklahoma to reservations. And so that is where the Hunkapillar family is a part of. So we learned about all of this in the Hunkapillar Times this past weekend. We also had a great game of can she or can she not eat this with her teeth?
What? No. We don't need to know who was participating, but what
tooth or no tooth is what we called it.
What were the things they were trying to eat?
Well, apples, chicken,
some people didn't have enough
teeth. Can the
teeth?
Dentures stay in as you do that? Okay. We had a great edition of Family or Not.
Any funny stories with that?
Well, we were just it was basically trying to just figure out if this person, if you could or couldn't hit on them. After last year's incident, we had to make some rules.
Huh?
Totally. Yeah, 3HL's coming up next. We're just going to go ahead and say that 3HL's coming up next. Yeah.
You spoke a little too much.
Yeah, just a little bit too much. We just didn't know about the whole family. It was like basically it was like a love connection, but different.
Yeah, curveball, man.
Tomorrow,
your mohawk looks fresh though. You tighten it up a little bit.
Thank you. Tomorrow, Coach Mack, OTAs, Brian Callahan. But I get to say this. In the meantime,
and in between time.
Peace.